Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kizer X Series Pioneer. Now this particular one, there's a bunch of different versions. I'll link this down in the description. You can look at all the different versions. There's different blade materials, different handle materials, right? The X Series #1 is part of Kizer's like higher effort line. From the few that I've handled, yeah, that is definitely the case. They're a bit more expensive than, there are other knives that are made with similar materials in that similar, category, but they are always doing something a little bit different to justify charging slightly more. Now, this particular version is only 99 bucks. They advertise it everywhere, including on the box in their own website. It says Nitro V blade, aluminum, and micarta liner lock. Okay, kind of looks cool, but it's like, there are knives in those materials that cost less, right? Something that they just neglect to point out at all, and maybe there are sites where this is shown. This is a freaking titanium liner lock. There's even a lock bar insert in there. Like, that's a pretty important detail, guys. It's really cool that you guys actually did that on a sub $100 knife. Really on top of all the extra little tiny things that make this knife a lot cooler than most knives that are sitting right there at about 100 bucks. So it's not going to be for everybody, but that was a detail that I felt like I should point out because it seems like they missed it literally everywhere, including their own website. Maybe it's there and I just didn't see it, but I just thought that was funny. In any case, it is definitely available. I'll link it down in the description. It does help my channel and use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Let's go ahead and measure this knife real quick. Got a lot of presence, but it's not a huge knife. Overall length is coming in at about 7.35 inches. Blade length is coming in at about 3 1/8, and your cutting edge is actually only about 2.9 to 3 inches. Let's do some size comparisons. Any custom scales in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. Sorry, there's some debris probably from all those TSA knives. I did clean the surface of this, but man, that was just it was a mess, right? Anyways, 80-10 and 80-20.5. You can see here it's very, very similar to the overall size of the 80-20.5 with some similar, like the forward choil area and then the standard, primary grip zones are very similar. Let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Once again, it's going to be closer to the smaller guy here. Very similar to the Para 3 in overall size, but the Pioneer does have more cutting edge. And then finally, we'll put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Hogue Deca. How's the action on this knife? It's about the same as other, I'm not necessarily noticing anything different in terms of action between this and other Kizer knives. Like everything else about the knife definitely does look higher effort, but they're not really doing anything special with the pivot as far as I can tell. It does run on, it should be running on bearings. Let me see if we can actually see in here. In fact, I thought for sure that they would. They do include like additional hardware for like the handle screws and everything like that. But there's no like extra bearings. It's not like MagSafe where they provide extra bearings or washers or whatever it is that it actually runs on. Sorry, I cut the video there so I could go get this screen grab. But this is from the Kizer website. And as you can see, it actually runs on roller bearings that sit on top of steel washers. They claim the pivot strength is a little stronger than what? I don't know what the implications are, but it's interesting that they chose roller bearings. In my experience, roller bearings don't offer any specific advantage to action versus standard bearings, but it is kind of neat. If you have an opinion on that, you're welcome to share it, or if you have some information, it might enlighten me. But after handling, I don't know, however many bajillion knives, the roller bearings are always fun to find that they are present, but they don't necessarily, it's not necessarily like a massive benefit or anything like that, but it is neat. So that's what's on the inside of the pivot, if you were curious about that. Anyways, let's go ahead and do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. We have, it's a little thicker than the Para 3, but not like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy, I can't carry it. No. Actually, all in a positive. It's thicker in a positive way. Closed up, it's almost the same size. This is Particle Pair 3, just not quite as tall. It's quite a bit smaller than the PM2. Let's go ahead and weigh it. What are we looking at for materials? Well, we have Nitro V on this version, but they also have an S90V version or an M390 version. They have an S35VN version. But this is Nitro V aluminum bolsters and some nice micarta with a titanium liner lock. And then I believe also a titanium pocket clip. Why are they leaving this stuff out? So that's pretty cool. It's not a mill clip, it's just stamp clip, but it's still a cool detail. Weight, 3.4 ounces, as you might expect. And then the balance is right on the pit. Honestly, the balance is great. With that titanium liner in there, and I'm going to guess it's the same on both sides because the magnet is not attracted to any part of this knife. Like it is just straight up until you get to the blade. It's not attracted to anything. So, and then I know people go, but it could be aluminum. It's not. It's not aluminum that's in there. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. All the materials there, and then the weight is good, balance is good, all of that, good ratios. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive, very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. So the pivot is a T8, and then your pocket clip screw is a T8, and then you're probably going to have at least one additional hidden screw underneath, holding in, holding the frame and the backspacer and liner and everything together. Then you have a screw that clearly comes up from the underside and attaches here. Yeah, probably underneath those liners. So getting in there would require removing the pivot and these screws out here. It looks like we've got a Chicago end. Pull it apart, and then if you want to remove the bolster from the titanium liners and the micarta, then you have to get up underneath there and remove that hidden screw, which is probably visible right here. Yeah, in fact, I can actually see it. Can we, oh, sorry, I bumped the camera there. I didn't mean to do that. Can we get a little glimpse of that? Right there, you can see that little screw. So yeah, actually fairly simple construction. T8, it looks like, at least on the exterior screws, probably interior, worst case scenario, it's a T6. As long as you have the right tools for the job, should be good to go. I don't think those roller bearings will come out as soon as you disassemble it, but just in case, be careful. Sometimes they do, right? Disassemble inside of a Tupperware container or something like that. But anyways, let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness. I'm going to guess that that's 130 to 140. That's what it looks like. Yeah, 136 thousandths. So there you go. Okay, we've done the hardware check. We've done the size comparisons, weight, blade stock thickness, meat and potatoes. Can somebody confirm with me the designer here is LF? And he's on the website. Like, you can get on the website and see like his little, the little readout on him. But it says right on the box, which is now gone. Oh, there it is. Says that it's LF. This looks a lot like the Tuya Alamo. I would very much like to know if that's the designer. I can't find any information online or on Blade HQ that specifically says that the Tuya Alamo was designed by LF, but they are strikingly similar in appearance. So if somebody could confirm that with me, that would be excellent. But that's who designed this, and it is a really good-looking knife. I really like the oversized hardware and the oversized pivot. I think that's cool. The front flipper is okay, right? It's probably more just like me not being good at front flipping. But reverse flicking is so easy thanks to these big burly thumb studs here, which are they also? No, they're not the stops. There's a stop pin back there. But really easy to get at. Just awesome. And your access to the lock bar itself is also nice and open. It's so cozy. This is such a cozy knife to engage with. Just feels good. On top of that, you have a nice open ergonomic profile with a pocket clip that is a little bit thin in here, and you can feel it going into your hand, but it's not crazy. It's not super intrusive. Honestly, I'm much more, aware of just how comfortable this knife is to hold. We have a nice ramp right here, some pretty darn good jimping that extends back to the frame. The entire thing looks cool without being over the top. We've got these holes here. Some people are going to hate them. Some people are going to love them. They have versions of this knife with no holes. Every time there's holes, I always tell companies you should do a version of the scales that's got holes and then a version that doesn't, because people are super, one side or the other on that. Some people hate it and they will not buy the knife because of it. I mean, look how clean it looks on this side. I'm kind of on the side of don't do the holes, Ideally, you would just do, you would do a version that has holes and a version that doesn't. But I don't mind it. I'm not going to not buy it if it doesn't have, if it has holes. But really, it's just a good looking knife. It clearly is a higher effort knife. There's no mistake about it. It is definitely a step up from what we typically see from Kizer in, I guess this is what you would call Vanguard territory. They're really kind of going all over the place with their different lines. I mean, they have their standard stuff, and then they have their Kizer Vanguard stuff, which is going to be slightly nicer materials at a slightly higher price point, but it's still built with the same typical Kizer-ness. Then they have premium Kizers, which again, it's same typical Kizer build quality, but it's premium materials. And they have this X line, which apparently extends anywhere from sub $100 knives all the way up to $350 knives that are just higher effort and crazier, more complex design elements. So this is in that X series. It's just a knife that is built with materials that allows it to be sub 100. Kizer knives are made in China. If you didn't know that, probably obvious, right? Even making something as simple as this, an American company making exactly this, would be substantially more expensive with the titanium, clip and liners and everything like that. Even with Nitro V, right? So Kershaw might be able to get. Gosh, there's so many knife companies that start with K. It's insane. It's part of that higher effort series, and it does show for sure. Your pocket clip, it does not look like it can be flipped over to the other side, so that is a bummer. I know you get less stylized clips if you have clips that are meant for right or left-hand carry. I've had this discussion many times with people in the comments section, and some people are like, yeah, whatever, I don't care, do whatever you got to do for lefties. Most left-handed people, will express to me that they are bummed out that they're kind of forced to deal with mostly right-handed knives. Other people get really upset that I suggest companies mill out a spot for lefty pocket clip carry because it creates a blemish. I think there's always a way around it. Number one, the most ideal thing that you could do is make a right hand and left hand version of the knife. Then the lefties are happy, the righties are happy, everybody's happy, everybody has the perfect version of the knife. That's very expensive to do. I know we do it with the Excalibur, but it definitely adds cost to do that and to try to estimate how many left-handed people are going to prefer that. The other way to do it is to make a symmetrical pocket clip and have it attached to the butt end of the knife, and then it can simply rotate around without having a blemish. You could also, of course, just put 2 screw holes or the same nesting on either side and do a filler tab, which I think looks good. Some people think it looks terrible. You could also, to keep the stylized clip and do the filler tab with the screw holes, you could offer a left-handed clip, which is something that Demco does. So you have the curvature that matches the design. It just comes with another clip. There's a million things you can do to make people happy, and I just think it's so ridiculous that 10% of the population is left-handed. I'm right-handed, so the knife world's been fine for me. I just think it's crazy. My dad is left-handed. He tells me all the time, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff I just had to adapt to over the years because we live in a right-handed world. I just think it's ridiculous that companies would leave money on the table when the fix for this is so simple. But anyways, we do have a right-hand only pocket knife. The blade on this guy is got a, kind of a matte tumbling out. It looks really good. Nice aggressive clip point blade. Really goes perfectly with the subtle curvature here. Kind of this, somebody took a capital S and stretched it out, right? Cutting geometry, it's pretty good. It's about medium. It's about what you'd expect from a pocket knife. Nitro V, is that a good steal for the money? Yeah. That's a great, at $99, you have a few different options. Nitro V is definitely one of the better ones out there. It's going to perform very, very well. It's not going to be hard to touch up. And it's also not going to immediately lose its edge. It's not going to win any awards in the edge retention department, but it's not going to immediately lose it. It'll just feel like a standard, like sort of good pocket knife steel for the money. Overall, very handsome profile. The combination of the micarta, the aluminum bolsters, the slightly different gray tint on the blade, titanium liners. It all looks good. It all looks cool without being over the top, I think. Big backspacer covers the entire knife. That's fine. Probably to keep you from touching the edge, or maybe it's styling. I don't know. Great way to, allow people who attach lanyards to knives to attach a lanyard without creating an eyesore or forcing the clip to not be prioritized or be mounted in an awkward position. That's always good. In and out of the pocket is a breeze. This pocket clip is great. It works just fine. You have the stop pin located in its traditional spot. No blade play, up, down, left to right. No lock stick. No pivot lash. Tight, but smooth and consistent in here. And again, it can be dropped into the closed position with just a little bit of encouragement. So this will get better over time. I was shocked to see what has happened. I was about to say I was shocked to see that it was off-centered, but it seems to have corrected itself literally during the review. Okay, well, never mind. Centering's perfect. Verdict. $99. Is this knife worth it? I think so. I think this is a pretty awesome. Like, Kizer has always priced their knives correctly, and I feel like they're still doing it with this guy. It blows my mind that they're not pointing out that this has a titanium liner with a steel lock bar insert. Like, that's so crazy. It's unnecessary. But it's awesome that it's on there, and they just, honestly, I just expected this was a steel liner, and I was going to say, yeah, it's pretty good, like pretty good price. But this is pretty cool. A lot of people are going to look at this and go, it has a bunch of stuff that I don't need, and I can get the exact same type of materials from Civivi for like $65. And you're right? It's not that much more expensive, but it does have those extra elements for people who do value things like titanium, the lock bar insert, right? They want all this cool stuff. It's got the right combination of stuff for being a Chinese production knife that's trying to land at the $100 price point. I'm honestly not like wanting, I'm not feeling like they should reduce. It seems like every review I do these days, like it's like 80% of them, I'm like, it's great. It should be $20 to $40 cheaper or $50 cheaper, whatever. This is one of the few knives here lately where I'm like, no, I think the price is pretty much spot on. I don't really want them to charge more for it, but I can understand why they couldn't really charge less for it. I think they did a really, really good job with this knife. And I think it's absolutely worth picking up. It's not doing anything new. It's a liner lock, but it does look cool. It's got great fit and finish. It feels like something special, right? So I kind of like this X series. I'm really interested to see where they go with it and what they do. It definitely, it feels superior to standard Kizer stuff. So yes, recommendable knife. It'll go in my most recommended knives playlist. That's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.